Alright, I had to find some gameplay clips to do my thoughts on Spider-Man, and I did just that. So without further ado, let's kick things off. Spider-Man has been around since 1962. As far as the television, either live action, 1967, I believe, and the cartoon has been around since 1981. If I'm wrong, correct me. As far as video games, has been around since 1982. So let's kick things off with the movies. If I'm doing the top three, I'll give you Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse, which is my favorite of all time. Number two is Spider-Man 2, which is live action movie. And three, you're going to be shocked, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So it had that comic book feel, especially when you watch the end of it and you're just like, oh man, the Sinister Six? Are you serious? I hope they do a Amazing Spider-Man 3 movie back in the future and build off of the first two Amazing Spider-Man movies. So if it's hard to choose which Peter Parker, in terms of the actors, play Peter Parker the best, because all three of them killed it. I'm talking about Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland. But if you put me in a rear naked choke and try to force me to tap out, I would say Tom Holland for one reason only. His character has been in the movies more than the other two. In other words, Captain America: Civil War. That's the first one we saw. The Marvel's Avengers: Infinity War, Endgame. That includes with Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home, which I have not seen yet. So, and another thing, I haven't seen Across the Spider-Verse, even though it came out 2 months ago. And I will watch that movie some way, somehow, either later this year or next year. So, yeah. There's nothing more need to be said, man. I mean, that's my top three, my favorite, my Spider-Man movies of all time. Hopefully, when I do watch those two movies that I mentioned, the ones I haven't seen, it might change my mind, but I don't think so. Now, as far as televisions, I never seen a live action movie before. I mean, not live action movie, but live action of Spider-Man before. It was in the 1960s, I believe. Kind of like with Batman. As far as the cartoons go, it was in the 1980s, and the first time I've seen it was overseas. My father was in the United States Air Force. He was in the military at the time. So I wasn't a fan right off the bat, because I was watching other cartoon series or other TV shows during that time. But once I got back to the United States, moved back there with my family, it was on. I loved it, every minute of it. Same way with X-Men. Ooh, man, you don't want me to get started. I'm going to leave that alone before it turns into another topic that it should be focusing on Spider-Man. I want to talk about X-Men so bad. I even went as far as to record Spider-Man animated series, the 1994 one, on VHS tapes. And it was phenomenal. It was fun. I watched the crap out of it. And if I had to do it all over again, I'll do it. I hope they have a DVD. I'm going to try to check it out. I'm going to see if they have it on Amazon website and see what's what. Now, my brother have seen Amazing, what was it, the Spectacular Spider-Man. And we've seen season 1 on CW before season 2 made its way into Disney XD. My brother has seen it more, Spider-Man animated series, on Disney XD than I have. Despite the fact watching it, he watched it far more. So, and as a matter of fact, there was one Spider-Man animated series. It made its way into MTV, and I can't remember the actual name of it. I'll put the link in the description. I do remember watching it, but it didn't get a season 2. It got canceled. So, man, oh man, people who have not watched Spider-Man cartoon shows like the 1994 or the other things I just mentioned, they're missing out something special. It's phenomenal. So, Now, as far as video games go, well, I'll pump the brakes on that one. As far as like memorabilia, never had one. Toys, oh yeah, I had them, but not a lot. Ain't nothing in the stratosphere like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Ghostbusters or Visionaries, Silverhawks, Thundercats, G.I. Joe. I know there were more toys I can think of off the top of my head, but I forgot. So, yeah. And Transformers, that's a different situation altogether. I got into that late in the not late in the 1990s, but in the early mid 1990s. So I do remember buying t-shirts and baseball caps. My little brother still have the t-shirts. As for my nephew, I remember giving him a squishy football with a picture of Spider-Man on it when he was a baby. And let me tell you something, it took off and he's been a fan of Spider-Man ever since. I will try to buy anything and everything I can lay my eyes on. It had Spider-Man. In fact, he loves Miles Morales. So, yeah. And my nephew is a huge, and I mean huge, Spider-Man fan. Now, let me get to video games. I did play, the first time I played it was Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage. That's one game I don't like talking about because it reminds me too much of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game from Nintendo Entertainment System, where I get far, and all of a sudden, all it takes, getting smacked around, getting suplexed, getting tossed around like a rag doll, game over, start from beginning. I'm sitting there fuming, wanting to break my controller with my bare hands. So... And I do remember playing a Spider-Man. It has that X-Men Mutant Apocalypse type of game, but I can't remember the actual name of it. But you play different types of superheroes, and that includes Spider-Man. It has something to do with Infinity Gems. So I can see it, but I can't remember the name. I apologize. Now, I do remember playing Spider-Man from the Sega Dreamcast, PlayStation 1 I loved it. Intro Electro, that was awesome. And I played Shattered Dimensions. This was at the time where Blockbuster was still around. I beat that game. After that, I hadn't played any more Spider-Man games until Marvel Spider-Man that came out in the late 2010s. And I played the DLC. I did a review on that. You can check it out. I loved every minute of it. There's a couple of few flaws with the game. As far as what you're seeing right here, Spider-Man Miles Morales, it's kind of like a spin-off sequel-ish type of thing. It's all about this young man right here. What you're seeing, Miles Morales doing his thing, battling the Tinker. Don't want to spoil it for y'all. I love this game. I really do. It's the representation, the neighborhoods of Harlem, everything. You're getting the best of both worlds, black people and the Hispanic communities and all this other stuff. It's rich. It's awesome. I just love everything about Spider-Man Miles Morales. The only one thing I don't like, it was short, super short. So I think that's something that people really didn't like about the game, is that it's short. Not to mention the price tag. Another thing that was a sore spot for gamers, where they're like, wait a minute, you're making us pay $60, $70 plus tax, spare change included, for a 5-6 hour game? Are you serious? Yeah, so yeah. And then we're having Marvel Spider-Man 2 coming out in a couple of months. Would be in October. It'll be 9 to 10 months after the events of Spider-Man Miles Morales. So with that in mind, I'll put the links in the description. What's your thoughts on this video? Throwing y'all salute. Big Cat. I'm out. Thanks for watching.